My beloved child, the time has come for me to unveil a truth that has never been fully revealed in your heart. From the very beginning, when light was first created, I had already set apart a portion in my eternal plan for you. The world may see your presence as nothing more than a grain of sand lost in the vast sea of humanity, but I declare within you lies a worth far beyond any earthly measure. Before your first cry was heard, your soul was cradled in my arms, and in that unseen moment, I planted within you the seeds of a mission unlike any other. This is not chance, nor the outcome of fortune, nor the game of fate. This is deliberate design, a line carved by the hand of the Creator, a symphony composed with every note leading to this very hour. My child, listen deeply, not with the limits of reason, but with an inner being open to revelation. For what I now speak does not come to add another piece of knowledge, but to shake the very foundations of your existence. In the days behind you, there were times when you felt adrift like a leaf carried by the winds of an uncertain life. You thought that pain, wounds, and closed doors were proof of abandonment. But I say to you, not a single tear has fallen outside of my sight. Not a single sigh has risen without touching my heart. Every experience, whether sweet or bitter, has been woven into the greater tapestry, preparing you for the moment I now call you to step into. As it is written, all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to His purpose. Romans 8:8. You are part of that divine flow. I know that along this journey, doubts have risen many times within you. You have asked yourself, why do I exist? Why am I here? Is all of this nothing more than meaningless days? Those questions are not sin, but the ringing of a bell within your soul reminding you that something greater is still calling. I myself have stirred those holy longings within you, so you would never be content with an ordinary life. When you look back, you will see clearly that every turn, every pause, every dead end that seemed useless was in truth a precise step in the plan I have written for you. You are not abandoned in chaos. You are being trained in the school of silence and patience. And now, as the time is fulfilled, I proclaim, rise up, my child, for you are called to a work far beyond your imagination. You were not formed to dissolve into the darkness, but to shine in the night. You were not created to live a dull life, but to leave an eternal imprint upon your generation. The gifts that seem small within you are no accident. They are precious gems hidden beneath layers of doubt, awaiting the day I awaken them. You once thought your difference was a burden, once hid your deepest dreams for fear of mockery. But I say your difference is the very seal that sets you apart from the crowd. As Jeremiah heard when he was called, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you a prophet to the nations. Jeremiah 1:5. So it is with you, you were chosen long before to carry a message no one else can replace. Remember, the trials you have endured were never meant to crush you, but to refine you. As gold must pass through fire to become pure, so your soul has been tempered to stand firm amid storms. I have allowed nights of darkness not to cast you into despair, but to teach you to seek light in me alone. I have allowed loss not to leave you barren, but to birth compassion within you, so that when you meet the broken, you can say, I understand. Your scars will become testimony. Your brokenness will become the very material I use to fashion you into a sharp instrument for this hour. And in your very weakness, you will see my strength made complete, for my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 1:9. My child, cast aside the thought that your life is meaningless. You are not the product of chance, nor a shadow in another's story. You are a living part of the eternal work I am building. You are the river flowing through barren lands, the flame burning in the long night, the seed holding the power to become a great tree of shelter for many. The years you have walked were not wasted. They were shaping in you a strength sufficient for this moment. Now you are no longer one searching for a way out. You are the one carrying the path for wandering souls. And this I want you to engrave upon your heart. Your destiny is not bound by past failures, not limited by present weakness, but defined by my word and my eternal purpose. Beloved child, I know your heart has often grown weary, asking why you must endure such long journeys of darkness, why prayers lifted seemed only to touch the ceiling and fall again. You thought I was distant, that perhaps you were speaking into silence, but understand this silence has never meant abandonment. On the contrary, it is the very space I use to teach you, to listen not only with ears, but with your soul. You longed for quick answers, but I waited so that you would learn the precious lesson that true faith is not built upon sight, but upon the certainty within that I am still there, still ruling, even when life appears to run against you. As it is written, for we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. Through that journey I have watched every step. Each time you stumbled, I never turned away. Instead, I stooped down, laid my hand beneath you, and in every rising again your strength was formed. Do you see it now? The very moments that looked like failure became fertile ground for endurance. If I had given you success too quickly, it would have consumed you. But I allowed long winters, so the roots of faith would press deep into the soil, so that when harvest comes, no storm will carry away the fruit. Do not despise the years of waiting, for they are the classroom I use to teach you endurance, humility, and patience. Like the seed buried in the ground, hidden from sight, yet in the dark, a new life is forming. Do not measure your worth by the world's gaze. The world is defined by achievements, possessions, and rank, but I see value in the deepest place where your will chooses to yield, where your heart chooses to walk with me, even without full understanding. That choice, not applause, delights me. You need not wear a mask to be accepted, nor chase the standards of men to feel worthy. You have been loved since before you did anything at all. I chose you not because you are perfect, but because my love never changes. As Psalm 139 declares, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. So it is with you. You are a marvelous work of mine, carrying a mark no other can bear. Look again at the scars, at the experiences that once made you want to collapse. You thought they were burdens, marks of weakness. But I tell you, they are proof of your endurance. No mountain rises without tremors. No pearl is formed without pressure. So it is with you. Those sorrows are not an ending, but the beginning of a strength that no power can destroy. Do not fear the fires of trial, for through each flame you are being forged. And when you look back, you will see not a step was wasted, not a moment in vain, for all has contributed to shaping the person I need you to be today. My precious child, understand this. Your presence in this stream of history is no accident. You stand in the very time I have chosen, within the very setting I have appointed to fulfill a role that reaches far beyond human comprehension. Do not think you are a bystander to the great events of the world. On the contrary, you are a link essential to the chain of my work. If one note is missing, the song is incomplete. So too, if you do not stand in your place, the task I have entrusted remains undone. You are called to participate, to influence, to leave an imprint that will endure for generations. Look around and you will see darkness covering lands, souls, despairing hearts, torn by lies and hatred. This world cries out for intervention, for a voice that brings deliverance. And at this very moment I call your name, not because you are more talented, but because your heart is more willing, not because you are without fault, but because I choose to use your brokenness as a vessel of my grace. As Moses, once a fugitive, was called back to lead a nation, as David, a shepherd boy, was anointed king, as Paul, once a persecutor, became an apostle of the gospel, so too are you chosen, even if you do not yet fully see it. My word does not rest upon your strength, but upon my power within you. God has chosen the weak things of the world to shame the strong. 1 Corinthians 1:2-7. Do not let the memory of old failures chain you. Do not heed the whispers that say you are too small, too late, or too ordinary to be used. I declare you were created for a reason beyond every judgment of man. Do not wait until you feel ready, for there will never be a day when you are truly enough. It is in lack that I show provision. It is in weakness that I reveal strength. It is in trembling that my word goes forth with authority. Remember always, you do not walk alone. Hosts of angels uphold you, my presence surrounds you, and every step you take is guarded. My child, you once thought that delay was a sign of my forgetting, but in truth, that delay was a divine strategy. I have never overlooked a single prayer. Every whisper of yours in the midnight hours has been stored in golden bowls before my throne. The time not yet come is not rejection, but an affirmation that I am preparing something greater than what you asked for. Just as a seed must be buried in the ground before it rises, so too your dream is passing through the process of maturing in silence. And when the dawn comes, you will see that every day of waiting was not in vain, for it has made you strong enough to carry what I am about to place in your hands. Do not fear when you see yourself different. That difference is not a flaw, but proof that you carry within you a unique design. You were not made to dissolve into the crowd, but to become a light that leads the way. You were not created to retreat, but to advance. Every wound of the past does not lessen your value. It only makes you more authentic, more approachable, and more capable of touching the souls of others through compassion. When you share your story, the listener will recognize that if I could transform you, then I can also transform them. Your testimony will be more powerful than 1,000 sermons, for it flows from lived experience, from blood and tears. Therefore, stand firm. Do not let fear strangle your voice. Do not let meaningless comparisons rob you of your identity. Do not let human rejection cause you to forget the unconditional acceptance that is in me. You are not the product of circumstance. You are the product of my word. You are not the result of limitations. You are the evidence of my limitless power. When you walk in what I have ordained, no authority in heaven or on earth can hinder you. You will see the veil lifted, the doors opened, and the promise fulfilled at the appointed time. And in that moment, you will cry out, "Surely, only God could have done this." My beloved child, do not think that the journey you have passed through was nothing but meaningless trials. Every event of the past, from simple joys to nights soaked with tears, has been a stone I laid to build the foundation for your future. There were times when you cried out for me to deliver you from hardship, yet I allowed you to remain in that place longer than you wished. Not because I was indifferent, nor because I desired to harm you, but because I see farther than you see, I know wider than you know. I allowed you to walk through difficulty so that you would learn patience and learn to recognize my presence even when storms arise. If your life were only smooth, your soul would not be strong enough to carry the glory that is coming. As steel must be forged in fire, so too you must pass through the furnace to become unshakable. You once asked me, "Why have you not answered? Why do you make me wait?" You have not realized that waiting itself is the sacred classroom I use to deepen the roots of faith. A seed lying in dark soil is not forgotten. It is being protected so its roots may grow downward before its sprout pushes upward. If the sprout breaks forth too soon, it will wither beneath the scorching sunday. In the same way, if I gave you what you asked for at the moment you desired it, the blessing would become a burden instead of life. I love you too much to grant you what is not yet in its time. Delay itself is proof of mercy. When I pause, it is because I am preparing you to be strong enough to receive what is eternal. As it is written, though the vision tarries, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Habakkuk 2:3. Remember, I am not only preparing blessings for you, but also preparing you for the blessing. Without inward transformation, every open door would become a snare. You may long for influence, but I cultivate character, so that when you stand in the light, your soul will not be shaken. You may desire a place of recognition, but I teach you to stand firm in hidden places, so that when the day of exposure comes, you will not collapse under pressure. You may yearn for love, but I heal old wounds, so that love will not be poisoned by bitterness. You may seek success, but I teach you to sacrifice, so that success will not turn you into proud. Every delay carries a holy purpose, not only that you may receive, but that you may keep, not only that you may keep, but that you may steward wisely. My child, understand that I am never hurried, for true love is never rash. Every step of your life lies within a divine order, where each detail is carefully measured. I see the whole picture while you see only fragments. You often think you are being delayed, but in truth you are being positioned. Just as a master craftsman polishes every angle of a gem before placing it in its rightful setting, so I am shaping you, refining you, so that when you step into the task appointed to you, everything will fit in perfect harmony. You are not forgotten on the sidelines. You are being reserved for the most appointed moment. Do not despise the hidden years, when no one notices the work I am doing within you. The world honors visible results, but I value the unseen process. It is in silence that you learn to hear the beat of my heart. It is in solitude that you learn to discern my voice amid the clamor of many others. It is in lack that you learn to depend entirely on me as your unfailing source. These lessons cannot be learned in the spotlight. They are formed in a secret place, where no applause is given, no praise is heard, yet my presence fills the room in its fullness. And then, when you are brought before the crowd, you will carry within you a strength that cannot be shaken by praise nor by criticism. You once felt discouraged when you saw others advancing faster, gaining more, being honored sooner. But I have never called you to walk according to their rhythm. I have called you to walk according to mine. Remember, some seeds bloom in a few months, but mighty trees take years to rise. You are not left behind. You are being cultivated for greater stature. When the time comes, you will stand firm like a tree planted by streams of water, unshaken by storm, untouched by drought, for your roots have gone deep. And it is this very steadfastness that will cause others to seek your shade as birds of the air seek the branches of the strong. I have ordained that your life will not be as fleeting grass, but as a tree whose shadow endures for generations. My beloved one, there are times you lift your eyes to the sky and sigh, how long? You feel as though you are standing before a closed door, knocking until your hands bleed, yet seeing no movement. You thought I was silent to test you, but in truth I was silent to protect you. If that door opened before your soul was ready, the blessing would crush you instead of sustaining you. If what you asked appeared too soon, it would become a burden leading you away from me. For I know well that apart from me you cannot hold on to anything. Therefore delay is not denial, but mercy clothed in waiting. As it is written, the Lord is not slow in keeping his promise, as some understand slowness. He is patient with you. 2 Peter 3:9. In the waiting I am doing more than you can see. I am shaping character, cleansing hidden roots, healing wounds that still linger, and planting in you the seed of faithfulness. If I gave you a pulpit while your heart was still full of bitterness, that bitterness would poison the very message you speak. If I gave you a relationship while suspicion still reigned within you, that suspicion would destroy the love you hoped for. If I gave you power while humility had not yet taken root, that power would devour your soul. Therefore, instead of giving you what you want, I give you a process. For it is in the process that character is formed, and character is the foundation strong enough to carry the blessing without breaking. Learn to see waiting as a gift. It is not an empty void, but a classroom for your soul. In the quiet, you learn to hear my voice more clearly. In the darkness, you learn to distinguish true light. In scarcity, you learn to recognize me as the only source that never fails. When you rejoice in the process, you will be free from the pressure of comparison. free from the fear of being left behind. You will understand that you are not racing against anyone. You are walking with me step by step, and that step is always on time. And then, when the season comes, blessing will arrive suddenly, gently, completely, in a way that leaves you without doubt that only I could have done it. My beloved child, the work I am doing in you does not stop at outward arrangements, but begins with an inner renewal. The heart is the true throne of a person's life, and whoever rules there determines the direction of the entire existence. That is why I care more about purifying your heart than about giving you position, fame, or wealth. When the heart is transformed, every other part of life follows. A person may strive to change behavior, but if the root remains unsettled, the change will only be temporary. But when the heart is healed and illuminated, the whole life becomes a fountain of blessing. That is why I have said, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:2-3. My child, look back at how many times you tried to fill the emptiness in your soul with busyness, with relationships, with fleeting success. Yet, in the end, that emptiness remained. Nothing in this world can fill it, because that space was created to belong only to me. When you allow me to enter the things that once bound you, bitterness, shame, painful memories will one by one be broken. I did not come to paint over old walls. I came to rebuild from the foundation. I do not want you to change a little just to look fine on the outside. I want you to be renewed at the root, so you may become completely free. You cannot truly change unless you let me change your heart. That very heart, once purified, will become the source of life for everything else within you. Let me change the way you see yourself. You are not what the world has put upon you: failures, mistakes, judgments. You are my child. In my eyes, you are a marvelous creation designed for a high purpose. You once thought of yourself as a sinner beyond repair, but I declare that you are a work in progress. Your scars are not signs of failure. They are proof of survival, of strength that has overcome trials. You are not a broken vessel. You are a precious jar being refined. When you realize this, you will begin to see everything in your life through the light of the transformation I am working within you. Remember that this transformation is not a momentary event. It is a process nourished day by day. It is like the dawn breaking through the night. At first the light was faint, but it steadily overtakes the darkness until the sun shines in full strength. You will see yourself being renewed step by step, not by your own strength, but by my power at work in you. Each time you surrender, each time you allow me to cut away the old you, step deeper into true freedom. Do not be surprised if the process sometimes hurts, for when I prune, it is so you may bear more fruit. And in that very melting down, you will realize you are becoming a new creation, stronger and fresher than ever before. The cleansing I perform is not only to erase mistakes of the past, it is to renew your heart completely, so it can receive something greater. Imagine a porcelain vessel with cracks. No matter how beautiful it looks, if it is not restored, it can shatter at any time. But when it is restored and its cracks filled with gold, it becomes more precious than ever. So it is with you. When you allow me to cleanse every corner of your heart, you will no longer be the same. You will become a marvelous work fit to be used in the noble purposes I have prepared for you. My beloved child, when the heart is renewed, the transformation cannot remain hidden within you. It is like pure water springing forth from a fountain. Wherever it flows, barren ground becomes fertile. A peaceful heart creates an atmosphere of peace around it. Others may step into your presence and sense something different. Not because you try to produce it, but because life flows out of you. True transformation cannot be concealed. It spreads naturally, just as light cannot be hidden under a basket, but must be placed on a stand to give light to all in the house. Think of your family, those closest to you. They have seen you weather storms. They have seen you fall. And now they will see you rise with a new life. Your change will become a testimony more powerful than any sermon. Words can be argued with, but a transformed life cannot be denied. As you live in true freedom, true healing, true peace, those around you will be drawn even if they do not admit it at first. Slowly they will realize that if I could transform you, I can transform them too. Inner transformation does not stop with your family. It extends into the community. A peaceful heart can ignite collective change. When you walk into your workplace, your school, or any environment, you will carry with you a different atmosphere. Instead of tension, you bring gentleness. Instead of division, you bring connection. Instead of resentment, you bring forgiveness. That very presence will lay the foundation for changes far beyond your reach. You will become the salt that flavors the whole environment. You will become the light that shines in the darkness. As Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world." Matthew 5:13-14. My child, never underestimate the power of a transformed heart. It can calm another person's anger. It can mend a relationship thought beyond repair. It can awaken hope in someone who has lost faith. A word spoken from a peaceful soul can be medicine to the desperate. A small act born of genuine love can change the destiny of someone's life. You may think you are just living an ordinary life, but in reality, you are sowing seeds that can produce an eternal harvest. My precious one, healing is not only for you to find peace for yourself. That is only the beginning, not the end. The height of transformation is when you become light. Light shining in the night, light guiding the lost light, bringing hope to the weary and despairing. I do not heal you, so you may withdraw. I heal you, so you may live fully for a greater mission, to become one who sows seeds of peace, one who brings life into barren places, and one who builds community in my light. Look at history, and you will see. Those truly touched by me never kept the blessing for themselves. Abraham was called not only to be the father of a family, but so that all nations on earth will be blessed through you. Joseph was delivered from prison not only to sit on a throne, but to save a nation from famine. Esther was raised as queen not to enjoy privilege, but to stand and deliver her people in a time of danger. In the same way, the transformation I am working in you is not only for your own comfort. It is so you may play a vital part in a far greater plan. You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, to declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. 1 Peter 2:9. My child, realize that you have been healed to become an instrument carrying my presence everywhere. You will not only speak about me, your very life will be living proof that I still act upon the earth. When you forgive those who hurt you, others will see my love. When you dare to trust in the midst of trials, others will see the faith I have planted. When you open your hand to share what little you have, others will see my provision. This will be a testimony more powerful than any sermon. And as that light shines, it will draw many back to me. Not because you are perfect, but because they see me in you. Do not think that this influence is small or limited. A single act born of love can create ripples beyond what you can see. A word of encouragement given to one on the edge of despair can pull them back from collapse, and that person may go on to inspire many others. A faithful heart praying for its family can become a wall of protection for generations. A courageous decision to live in truth can spark a movement of change across an entire community. You may think what you do is just a drop of water, but I tell you that drop contributes to the ocean. You were created to be a channel for life to flow out. When you let me use you, your words can break chains. When you walk in love, darkness cannot stand. When you remain faithful, the spiritual atmosphere around you will be transformed. This is not a burden you must strain to carry. It is the natural result of a heart that has been healed. Light does not struggle to shine. It simply shines because it exists. In the same way, when you abide in me, you will naturally become my reflection to the world. Remember, you do not live only for today. What you sow in the present will create a legacy for future generations. Your transformed heart will be the seed planted in your children, in your community, in history itself. You may not see the results right away, but I see. I see every silent prayer, every faithful tear, every act of love. All of it is recorded. And at the appointed time it will bring forth a great harvest. Transformation never ends within you. It always has a purpose beyond you, to touch those around you and to spread to the ends of the earth. The highest point of this process is when you live no longer for yourself, but for the mission I have given you. Then your life will not be measured by years on earth, but by the eternal impact left in the souls of others. And on the day you stand before me, you will hear these words, "Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your master." My dear child, healing does not end with closing old wounds. It is the beginning of a new chapter. Do not think the scars left on your body or in your memory are marks of weakness. On the contrary, they are proof of strength refined. A warrior cannot boast of hands unscarred, but hands marked by battle tell the story of courage and resilience. In the same way, what you have gone through has not destroyed you. It has carved into you a new beauty, the beauty of one who has risen after nearly falling. My child, I declare to you that the scars are no longer a burden that makes you bow down, but a crown that lifts your head high because they prove you were not defeated. When the world looks at you, they may only see traces of suffering, but I see the mark of victory. Pain has not destroyed you. It has shaped you into a stronger, deeper, and more compassionate version of yourself. And it is that very compassion that will become the instrument by which you touch the souls that are groaning. You will say, "I have been in that dark place, but now I stand here, and I know the one who can bring you out." Then your testimony will echo like a light that leads the way. My child, understand that a new beginning is not returning to where you once stood, but stepping into an entirely different realm. Just as trees after winter do not grow back old leaves, but bring forth new ones, so your life will never be the same again. And that is good, because you are not called to relive the past, but to walk into a renewed present. I make all things new. When you allow me to turn wounds into lessons, losses into seeds of hope, and trials into launch pads, you are stepping into a new orbit where you are no longer defined by darkness but by the light I give. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old things have passed away, behold, all things have become new. 2 Corinthians 5:1-7. Remember, what I give you is not just restoration but renewal. You are not only given back what was lost, but you receive what you never had before. I do not simply patch the torn garment, I give you a brand new robe. I do not rebuild the old house, I build for you another one stronger and firmer. Your painful experiences are not discarded but become the very foundation for what is to come. You will find yourself carrying treasures in the very things that once caused you pain. For it was there that you learned perseverance, compassion, and unshakable faith. My beloved, look back over your life. The times you thought were total loss turned out to open the way to deeper things. The seasons you thought meaningless were in fact the hardest classrooms, yet the most precious. Every time you wept through the night, I gathered those tears to water the seeds of hope. Every time you felt exhausted, I was there holding you, so you would not collapse. And now, as you stand on new ground, you will understand all that has passed was only preparation for today. Nothing was wasted, nothing was random, nothing was outside of my plan. A new beginning does not mean forgetting everything that has happened, but looking at it with different eyes. When I renew your heart, even the old memories are transformed into testimony. The scar no longer throbs with pain, but becomes living proof that grace has triumphed. Sorrow is no longer a burden, but a platform to treasure joy. Failure is no longer the end, but the chapter that opens to maturity. And for this very reason, you can walk forward without fearing the past, because the past has been turned by me into wealth for your present and your future. The new beginning I give you cannot be sustained by willpower or determination alone. It requires a continual flow of nourishment, and that flow is prayer. Do not think of prayer merely as hurried words before sleep or cries of desperation in trouble. Prayer is the breath of the soul. It is the bloodstream that keeps spiritual life alive. Just as the body cannot live without air, your soul cannot be strong without connection to me. Prayer is the bridge between the temporal and the eternal, the cord that keeps you close to the source of life. My child, unceasing prayer does not always require eloquent words or long rituals. It can be no more than a whisper, "Lord, I need you." It can be a sigh placed into my hands. It can be a few minutes of stillness amid busyness where you choose to pause and listen. Yet these very moments keep you from drifting away. They allow you to hear my heartbeat, to discern my voice among 1,000 others. And the closer you remain in prayer, the clearer my guidance becomes for each step. Pray without ceasing. 1 Thessalonians 5:1-7. This is not advice. It is a secret to keep the flame alive within you. Understand that prayer does not only change circumstances, but first it changes you. When you draw near to me, the burdens of your heart are laid down. When you converse with me, vague fears melt away in the light of truth. When you pour out your soul, new strength will arise. You may not see every problem solved immediately, but you will realize that your heart has changed. Worry no longer rules. Anger no longer takes hold. Sorrow no longer consumes you. Instead, a gentle peace will cloak you like a garment, shielding you from the storm. And that very peace is the clear proof of my presence in you, even if circumstances outside remain the same. My precious one. The height of healing is not when the pain disappears completely, but when you are transformed to become a light for others. What I do in you does not stop with personal restoration, but extends to making you a bearer of hope in a despairing world. Darkness covers many places, but the renewal within you will shine as a lamp for the lost. You no longer live only for your own peace, but to share the life that has been given to you. Know that the love I pour into you is not only to heal your personal wounds, but to overflow watering souls that are dry. When you reach out to others, when you forgive the unforgivable, when you dare to love the undeserving, you are reflecting my love to the world. It is love without condition, love beyond every hurt, love strong enough to break chains of hatred. Love one another as I have loved you. John 1:3-4. That is not only a command, but a sign that you are truly healed. My child, light is not meant to be hidden, but to be set high for all to see. The transformation I grant you is not only grace for yourself, but a calling to be a witness. When others see the change in your life from despair to hope, from weakness to strength, from brokenness to wholeness, they will know that I am still at work. That testimony speaks louder than any sermon, because it is not only heard in words, but seen in how you live, how you love, how you smile in peace amidst storms. Do not think you must do great deeds for the light to shine. Sometimes the smallest acts become miracles for someone. A timely word of encouragement may save a soul standing on the edge of despair. A simple act of kindness can open the door for someone to see me. When you are faithful to live genuinely, the light will spread by itself, no show, no search for recognition. Like a candle in a dark room, you only need to burn, and the darkness will be forced to retreat. My child, this is the pinnacle of healing. You are no longer defined by the past or by your own limits, but you become an instrument for an eternal plan. You become a seed of hope, a river of grace, a lamp in the night. And I declare this, It is the very reason I called you, preserved you, healed you, and transformed you, so you may be a living witness of my power and love on this earth. As you walk in that truth, every step will carry my presence, and those who touch your life will feel that I am alive. My dear child, as I lead you into a new beginning, the first lesson I want you to learn is not how to control, but how to trust. The world teaches you to plan, to grasp tightly, to predict everything ahead. But I declare to you, the secret of a steady life is not in holding on, but in letting go. You will never fully feel the strength of my hand if you are still straining to control all things. That is why the new journey begins, not with calculation, but with surrender. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in Him, and He will act. Psalm 3:7-5. I know there have been days when you asked, can I really walk this path? Do I have enough strength? Deep inside you, feel fragile, unprepared, even unworthy. But it is precisely in your weakness that my power is displayed most clearly. What I ask is not perfection, but trust. You do not need to know every corner of the future. You only need to hold my hand and take one step at a time. As you step, I will open the way. As you pause to listen, I will guide. As you fall, I will lift you up. What matters is not how far you can see, but that you know who is walking with you. Remember, doubt is one of the strongest chains that can bind you. The enemy does not always need to destroy you. It only needs to plant one seed of doubt, making you hesitate and miss out. It whispers, is God really with you? Will He really do what He promised? This is the same trick it used in Eden from the very beginning. But I declare, my word never returns void. I do not promise what I do not intend to fulfill. Time may test you. Circumstances may make you anxious, but my word stands forever. And the faith you hold on to, when nothing is visible, becomes the solid foundation for your harvest. My child, I want you to know that trust is not blind walking, but opening your heart to see me in everything. When your spiritual eyes are opened, you will see my hand in the smallest details, a closed door that protects you, a relationship that ends to set you free, a delay that prepares you. All are parts of the plan I am weaving. And when you trust me, you will no longer tremble before uncertainty, because you know that even surprises are under my control. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for peace and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:1-1. I do not say that the journey of trust will always be easy. There will be days when you feel as though you are walking on water with storms swirling around you. But remember Peter, when his eyes were on me, he walked on the waves. When he looked at the storm, he began to sink. That lesson remains, for you do not fix your gaze on what frightens you, but on me. You will realize that the strength to go on does not come from anxious striving, but from keeping your eyes in the right place. My beloved, the trust I seek in you is not a fleeting feeling, but a repeated decision each day. When the sun rises, you can choose to start the day in worry or in surrender. When night falls, you can choose to toss and turn with countless thoughts, or place your soul in my hands and rest. Faith is not only what you declare in prayer, but what you practice in the smallest choices: to forgive instead of holding on to bitterness, to be patient instead of rushing to hope, instead of despairing. Each choice is a step of trust. Let your heart rest in this truth. I am the one who began the good work in you, and I will bring it to completion. No power can obstruct my plan for your life. You are not left to fight alone to hold on to the promise. I myself am the guarantee. You only need to keep walking, keep believing, keep fixing your eyes on me. Then you will recognize that everything, both the favorable and the difficult, is working together to bring you to the right place at the right time. My beloved child, I know there are moments when a fierce struggle rises within you. On one side, faith declares that I still reign. On the other, fear whispers that you will fail. At times you have felt as though two voices were speaking in parallel, one inviting you forward, the other holding you back in hesitation. This is not strange, for anyone I have called must pass through the battle within. But remember, fear has no authority over you unless you agree with it. Fear is but a shadow. It magnifies reality to paralyze you. It makes you believe the mountain is too high, while I have already given you strength to climb. It makes you think the sea is too wide, while I have already ordained the shore on the other side for you. It makes you focus on your own limits instead of on my boundlessness. But faith is the light that exposes that shadow, showing it has no true power. When you allow the light to shine, the shadow vanishes at once. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear. 1 John 4:1-8. It is my love perfected in you that will cast out fear and replace it with boldness. My child, I have never called you to walk in confidence in yourself, but to trust in me. Therefore, do not be afraid when you feel weak. Weakness is not failure, but a reminder that you need me. And when you lean on me, my strength will flow. Remember Gideon. He once saw himself as the least in the weakest clan, but I called him a mighty warrior. It was in his trembling that my power was revealed, transforming a timid man into a leader of a nation. In the same way, I do not call you according to your strengths, but according to my power that will be released through you. Train your heart to refuse agreement with fear. When it whispers, "You cannot answer," I can, for God is with me. When it says, "You will fall," declare, "I will stand firm, for my defender never sleeps." When it tries to pull you into the spiral of doubt, recall the promises I have given so that truth may silence the lies. This is the daily battle, and victory is yours when you choose to stand on the side of truth. Faith does not remove every anxious feeling, but it gives you the strength to move forward despite them. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to take steps while still trembling. As you choose to act in faith, fear loses its ground. And with every step you take in trust, your faith will grow strong, steady, like an ancient tree that has endured many storms. My beloved, trust is not complete if it remains only as thought or feeling. It must be expressed in action, in concrete steps, whether shaky or small. I do not seek perfect wisdom in you, but a heart willing to obey. When I call, say, "Here am I, Lord." When I lead, step forward, even if you cannot yet see the whole picture. For the blessing does not lie in your understanding, but in your obedience. Blessed are those who hear the word of God and keep it. Luke 1:1-8. Many miss the moment I have appointed because they delay. They wait until all feels safe, clear, and certain. But remember, true faith rarely operates in the realm of safety. Abraham left his homeland not knowing where he was going, only knowing that I called him. Moses stood before Pharaoh fully aware of the king's power, but he went because I sent him. Peter stepped out of the boat, though the storm raged, simply because I was standing on the water. You too will be called to step in moments when reason shouts. Impossible, but faith within you will whisper, "Believe, for the Lord is with you." Immediate obedience is the key that unlocks the doors I have prepared. When you act on my word, heavenly power will back you up. What you could never accomplish alone will become possible, because I go before you, I walk with you, and I come behind to guard you. There will be times you do not see results at once, but every step of obedience is recorded in eternity. A timely word, a courageous act, a quiet faithfulness in small things, all are seeds. I will bear fruit in due season. Do not fear that your obedience is in vain. No act of faith ever goes to waste. Though others may not see, though you may not receive applause, heaven takes account. I do not measure by applause, but by the sincerity of the heart. And when you are faithful in little, I will set you over much. When you obey in secret, I will entrust you with influence in the open. Understand that obedience without delay does not mean you will face no resistance. On the contrary, it is often when you step forward that darkness rises to oppose. But take courage, such opposition is a sign you are moving in the right direction. The enemy attacks only when it sees you nearing the destiny I have ordained. Do not be afraid, for I have clothed you with armor, given you the sword of the Spirit, and commanded the armies of heaven to support you. With every step of obedience, heaven moves. And when you look back, you will know it was not your strength, but my hand that accomplished it all. My child, when you have chosen to walk in trust and obedience, you will discover that the journey is not always lined with roses. I never promised the road would be easy, but I did promise you would never be alone. There will be times you must pass through the fire, and it is that very fire that will test, refine, and reveal your true worth. Just as gold can only be purified when placed in the furnace, so your soul must go through trial to remove impurities, leaving only what is lasting and pure. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. James 1:3. Do not despise the harsh seasons you must face. They do not come to destroy, but to shape. The world may look and say, "You are failing," but in my eyes, it is the classroom of training. Every tear, every storm, every moment, you thought you could not take another step. All are used by me to engrave endurance and unwavering faith within you. Without storms, you would not know how deep your roots are. Without the night, you would not know the value of light. Without falling, you would not learn the strength of rising again. Remember those who went before you. Joseph was sold by his brothers, falsely accused and imprisoned. But it was that very prison that became the platform to place him in the palace. David fled for years in caves, but it was those days that forged in him the heart of a king who relied on me. Even my only son did not avoid it. He walked the wilderness, endured temptation, bore suffering, and through it became the salvation of many. What do you think? You too will pass through trials, but no trial will ever exceed what you can bear with me beside you. Do not let the fire make you afraid. That fire is not meant to consume, but to refine. It is not to destroy, but to shape. When you stand in hardship, instead of asking, "Why ask, Lord, what are you teaching me?" In those moments, you will uncover treasures hidden in the flames. Patience, gratitude, wisdom, faith, these do not come in fair weather, but are birthed in storms. And once you have endured, you will find yourself changed, stronger, deeper, and closer to me than ever before. Understand this: in the fire you learn to distinguish what is temporary from what is eternal. The things you once thought indispensable can vanish in an instant, but what I give endures forever. When the fire sweeps through, it will strip away what does not belong to me, leaving only what is pure and unshakable. That is why I allow trials not to rob you of what is precious, but to free you from what only seemed precious yet was truly a burden. I declare this: the fire you walk through today is the evidence that you are being prepared for something greater tomorrow. Do not view the trial as proof that I have abandoned you. See it as the mark that I am pouring my attention into shaping you. As you endure and press through, you will carry a new authority, a deeper strength, and a lasting presence that others will sense. And when my light shines through you, they will see not merely one who has passed through the fire, but a living witness that my grace is sufficient in every circumstance. My beloved child, every trial you now face is never meaningless. You may think they are just random disruptions, but I declare that every detail is woven into a greater tapestry. There are days when you feel as though the whole world has collapsed, your plans have dissolved, and you are left standing alone in a barren field. But it is there that I am planting new seeds. What you thought was loss is truly the space I have cleared to sow something better. Like a potter breaking a vessel unfinished in order to shape it again into something more beautiful, I too use brokenness to mold you. I know you have cried and asked, "Why me? Why do I have to go through this?" But I want you to see it from another angle. Why not you? It is precisely because I trust that you can stand firm that I allow the trial to come. A weak soldier is never sent to the battlefield. Only those whom I know can endure are tested by fire. So if you are going through hardship, take it as proof that I am training you for a greater purpose. Count it all joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. James 1:2-3. In hardship you will discover depths that calm days can never teach you. Only in lack will you know me as your provider. Only in weakness will you see my strength made perfect in your frailty. Only in betrayal will you learn to depend on my unchanging faithfulness, and only when darkness surrounds you will you see how radiant my light truly island. The moments you think are the darkest often become the very stage where my glory shines most clearly. My child, remember this: trials do not come to define you, but to refine you. The enemy wants to use them to break you down, but I use them to build you up. It wants you to doubt, but I use it to deepen your faith. It wants you to quit, but I use it to teach you patience. It wants you to believe you are abandoned, but I prove that I have never left you. And when you look back, you will see that those very days of shadow were the times when the roots of your faith grew deepest, preparing for a season of abundant fruit. When you have walked through fire and have not been consumed, you will know that true strength does not come from yourself, but from me, the one who is with you in the blazing furnace. Just like the 3 friends of Daniel, they entered the fire and were not burned, not because the fire was weaker, but because I was present with them. So it is with you. When the flames of life surround you, I do not depart. It is my presence that turns what should have destroyed you into the very environment where your faith is strengthened, your soul purified, and your will made steadfast. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. Isaiah 4:3-2. The result of refining is not merely that you survive, but that you are transformed. You will step out with eyes that see life differently, with a heart more tender toward the pain of others, and with a strength unshakable by anything. The fire does not consume what is precious. It only burns away what is excess. It strips away pride, removes self-reliance, and detaches you from what does not belong to me. And when you emerge, what remains is a reshaped person, steadfast, purified, and useful for my plan. Remember, refining is never meaningless. It always serves the purpose of making you a vessel of my glory. The words you speak after the trial will carry weight because they are not theory but truth forged in lived experience. When you comfort others, your words will pierce the depths of their hearts because you once stood in that place. When you pray for someone, your intercession will carry power because it comes from a heart that knows what it means to be broken and healed. Your very journey will become a testimony, a river of life flowing to many others. My child, the summit of refining is when you no longer see trials as enemies, but as teachers. You will learn that storms do not come to crush, but to strengthen. You will give thanks even for dark days because they taught you the value of light. You will smile at your scars because they prove you endured. And you will step forward no longer trembling before new challenges because you know if I was with you yesterday, surely I will be with you tomorrow. My beloved, I do not refine you so that you stand alone. What I do within you is never meant to stop with you. When light is kindled, it is meant to shine for many. When healing is given, it carries within it the mission of healing others. You are not an isolated individual, but a member of the greater body I am building. As it is written, "For we were all baptized by one Spirit, so as to form one body." 1 Corinthians 1:2-1:3. The journey of faith cannot be lived fully in solitude. It is in the community that what I have placed in you grows and is revealed. You can learn patience alone, but you will learn love among others. You can pray in secret, but you will see multiplied power when you pray in agreement with your brothers and sisters. You can keep a personal flame burning, but it will burn brighter and longer when joined with the flames of many. I designed you to both receive and give, to be built up and to help build up. Remember, the world is full of division, but I have called you to be a messenger of unity. When you carry my love into a group, you become the bond that holds broken pieces together. When you walk in humility and extend forgiveness, you open the way for reconciliation. When you lower yourself to lift others, you encourage them to rise. This is an essential part of your calling, not only to live for yourself, but to become an instrument to weave together what has been torn apart. And I declare to you, wherever love dwells, there I will dwell also. My child, community is not always easy. There will be differences, clashes, and misunderstandings. But it is precisely there that you learn what true love means. Love is not only when it is convenient, it is choosing patience when hurt, forgiveness when you have reason to resent, unity when division seems inevitable. That is mature love, love that reflects me. And when you choose to live in that love, you not only build your community, but you bear witness to the world that I am alive. Do not fear that your contribution is too small to make a difference. A single drop of water falling to the ground can bring forth life. A tiny spark of light is enough to drive away the darkness in a room. Likewise, a word of encouragement, a gesture of care, a simple act of kindness from you can be the beginning of transformation in someone's life. You are not called to do everything, but you are called to do your part. And when each person is faithful with their portion, the whole community is built strong like a house founded on the rock. Receive this call. Do not live in isolation. Step in, connect, give, and receive. Let your life become a bridge that joins strangers, forming a spiritual family where the weak are upheld, the lost are guided home, and the broken are healed. When you give your part, no matter how small you are, helping build an eternal dwelling where my presence abides. And I say to you, you may shine alone, but when joined with others, you will become a lighthouse that illuminates an entire land of darkness. My beloved, I want you to understand this community is not only where you are supported, but where you learn to give. You will never truly grow if you only receive and never pour out. Love is not meant to be kept but shared. Grace is not meant to be stored but released. Faith is not meant to be confined but acted upon. When you dare to open your heart to offer, to step beyond your own limits for the sake of many, you will see the abundance I give surpass anything you could imagine. My child, the community I have designed is not merely for gathering, but for strengthening and lifting one another up. In it, no one is meant to stand alone. No one is meant to bear their burdens in silence. Just as a body has many members, each with its own function, so when one part suffers, the whole body feels it. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. Galatians 6:2. When you learn to share the weight, you are transforming the community into a refuge, a place where the weary find comfort, where the fallen find arms ready to lift them again. My child, I know there are moments when you think that having only me is enough. Indeed, I am the sole source of life, but I have also ordained that blessings flow through human relationships. I choose to work through your brothers and sisters so that you may learn humility when receiving help and generosity when giving it. When you pray with someone, I listen. When you encourage another, I speak through your lips. When you weep with the broken, I weep through your heart. Therefore, community is not a substitute for me, but the instrument I use to reveal my love in tangible and intimate ways. Never underestimate the power of presence together. A prayer raised in unity can shatter chains that a solitary prayer may struggle to break. An embrace full of compassion can heal wounds that words alone cannot. A faithful companionship can keep someone from stumbling simply because they know there is someone who believes in them. This is why I created a community, not so that people might boast, but that they might uphold one another that when one is weak, others may be strong, and when one stumbles, others may help them rise. The world outside is full of comparison, rivalry, and exclusion. But the community in me must be different. It must be the place where the wounded find healing, not judgment, where the defeated receive encouragement, not abandonment, where the newcomer feels welcomed, not distrusted. And you, my beloved, are a part of this transformation. When you carry love, you help shape the community into a home, a refuge, a lamp, shining in a world engulfed in darkness. My beloved child, the summit of community in me is not merely in mutual support, but in becoming a living testimony to the world. When many hearts are united in love, I am revealed more clearly than any sermon. Others may argue with doctrine, may dismiss theories, but they cannot deny a community filled with genuine love. As I have said, by this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. John 1:3-5. The love among my children is the lighthouse that shines into a world drowning in hatred and selfishness. Picture this: a community where the rich do not despise the poor, the strong do not abandon the weak, the wise do not exalt themselves over the simple. A community where forgiveness is stronger than resentment, sharing stronger than selfishness, prayer stronger than criticism. This is what I desire to build, a people belonging to me, set apart to display my glory. When the world looks upon them, they will marvel, and within their hearts will rise a longing to enter into that embrace of love. The community in me is not inward-focused alone. It bears a mission outward. Every time you and your brothers and sisters walk in unity, you are opening the door for many more to draw near to me. When a community lives true to its calling, it becomes an instrument that pushes back darkness. The hungry are fed, the forsaken are welcomed, the confused find meaning, the hopeless find hope. This is why I placed you in community, not so you might hide in safety, but so that together you might become an army of love, moving forward and transforming the world. Do not underestimate the influence of even a small community filled with the Spirit. A small group in prayer can alter the destiny of a city. A community living in forgiveness can break chains spanning generations. A body united in faith can open the way for revival to spread. What an individual struggles to accomplish, a united community can bring forth, because in unity, my power is poured out abundantly. So commit yourself, stay connected, build faithfully. For the community you are helping to build today is the inheritance I leave for the generations to come. And when you stand before me, you will see that every act of love, every shared prayer, every moment you humbled yourself to preserve unity, all of it has contributed to a story far greater than your own life. My child, when I establish you and set you within the community, it is not the end but the launching place. From the safety of love, I send you out carrying light into the places still covered in darkness. Do not think that the sending is reserved for the few. It is for all who are willing. You have been healed to become one who brings healing, transformed to become a source of transformation, love to become a vessel of love for the world. Go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. Mark 1:6-15. This is not only a command, but an urgent call flowing from my heart. I know that at times you feel small, inadequate, unqualified. But the sending does not begin with ability, it begins with willingness. I do not choose the strong to do great works. I make the weak strong when they obey. I do not wait until you are flawless to entrust you with mission. I use your very imperfections to display the perfection of my grace. The tears, the scars, the experiences you once thought were failures, all will become testimony, the language the world understands. When you recount how I have redeemed you, others will believe that I can redeem them too. The sending does not always take you to far-off lands. Sometimes it begins within your family, your workplace, your daily relationships. The neighbor in despair needs a word of hope. The weary colleague needs an embrace of support. The wandering child needs an example to follow. Do not wait for great doors to swing open before obeying. Be faithful in the small opportunities. It is faithfulness in the small that paves the way for greater responsibility. Sending is not only about going, but about living. I do not send you only to speak of me, but to reflect me in every action. When you choose honesty over compromise, you are proclaiming holiness. When you choose forgiveness over revenge, you are showing mercy. When you persist in love, even when rejected, you are reflecting unconditional love. The world may not read the scriptures, but they will read your life. They will see how you live, and that very witness may open the door for them to come to me. And when I send, I promise to go with you. You will never walk alone. My Spirit will be the whisper within you, guiding and strengthening. He will place words upon your lips when you do not know what to say. He will go before you, preparing hearts, opening doors. He will be behind you, shielding and protecting. And he will be within you, causing light to shine, not from your strength, but from my power. Therefore do not tremble, do not hesitate. Walk forward, for every step you take carries the backing of heaven. My child, sending is not a burden, but a privilege. It is proof that I trust you to be an instrument in my hand. In heaven, angels stand ready at my throne, longing to be sent. Yet I choose you, a fragile human being, to reveal my strength. This is not a mistake, but my eternal purpose. And when you go, darkness will tremble, chains will break, and many souls will be drawn out of the pit of despair. My beloved child, when you step out under my sending, you will quickly realize that you do not walk upon quiet ground. The world will not always open its arms to welcome the light. Darkness will seek to hinder. The enemy will sow doubt, and at times, even those you thought would support you may turn away. Yet I say to you, do not let these things make you afraid. Opposition is not a sign that you are on the wrong path, but often the proof that you are walking the right one. If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hates me first. John 1:5, 1:8. My child, boldness does not come from natural temperament, but from my presence within you. Peter once trembled and denied me before a servant girl, yet after being filled with the Spirit, he stood and preached before the multitude, and 3,000 lives were transformed in a single day. Man is not changed by his own striving, but by the Spirit who renews and empowers. In the same way, do not look at your weakness and despair. Look to me, the one who can turn trembling into courage and hesitation into strength. As you fulfill your mission, remember that the outcome does not depend on you. Your part is to sow, mine is to bring forth life. At times you may sow seeds and see nothing, yet do not think it is in vain. I am still at work in hearts, even when your eyes cannot see. Be patient, for the harvest will come. You may be but one link in a long chain I am weaving, yet every link is vital. Do not compare your portion with another's. Be faithful with what I have entrusted, and heaven will take account of it. My child, sending is not always accompanied by comfort. At times you will be asked to give of your time, your strength, even your sense of safety, but I promise that no sacrifice made in me is ever wasted. When you release what is small in obedience, I will grant what is greater. When you endure loss for the sake of the kingdom, I will transform it into eternal inheritance. And when you choose the narrow road, you will discover the abundant life the world cannot give. Whoever loses his life for me and for the gospel will save it. Mark 8:3-5. Remember that boldness does not mean hardness of heart, but walking in peace though storms rage all around. It is not a spirit of aggression, but the quiet confidence that I go before you, I protect you, and I accomplish my work through you. Boldness is not the noise outside, but the strength within the strength of a soul anchored in me. When you stand amid rejection or ridicule, Let your heart rest in the truth that you are not living to please men but to please me. Do not forget, my child, that every step you take is witnessed by heaven. The hosts of angels rejoice when you dare to testify of me. The saints who have gone before also faced opposition, and now they surround you as a great cloud of witnesses, urging you not to lose heart. As it is written in Hebrews 1:1, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. You do not run alone, you are part of a great stream of the sent ones. Therefore, my beloved, stand firm. Though rumors may wound you, though cold stares may isolate you, though the path may be filled with thorns, remember that the reward you seek is not from the world but from me. One day, when all has passed, you will hear my voice saying, "Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord." That is the joy that far surpasses every present hardship, the eternal glory beyond compare. My beloved child, when I send you, it is never for you to walk alone in this vast world. Every sending is bound with my presence. I do not hand you a command and then watch from a distance. I walk with you, I lead, I guard each step you take. What I call you may exceed your strength, but it will never exceed mine. It is in this companionship that the mission becomes possible, and you become a living vessel in my hands. Remember, my child, that my presence is the strength of your sending. When Moses trembled, feeling unfit to stand before Pharaoh, I did not hand him a detailed plan to soothe him, but I said, "I will be with you." Exodus 3:1-2. That assurance turned a fugitive shepherd into the deliverer of a nation. In the same way, you do not need to possess every answer. You only need to know that I am with you, and if I am with you, no power can stop you. The sending I place upon your life is always tied to deliverance. You are called not only to speak of hope, but to bring hope into hopeless places. Not only to speak of freedom, but to break the chains of the bound. Not only to speak of love, but to live it tangibly so that others may feel it. I place in your mouth words that awaken sleeping souls. I place in your hands the power to touch the hurting. I place in your steps a mission to carry my light to lands yet unreached. Do not fear, my child, that you are too small to change the world. The world is not transformed by indifferent crowds, but by individuals who dare to obey. A reluctant Jonah who went forth moved an entire city to repentance. Paul, once a persecutor, became a bearer of the gospel to the ends of the earth. A Samaritan woman who met me by a well testified, and an entire village came to believe. In the same way, you too can be the spark that ignites a great flame if you are willing to follow my sending. The pinnacle of sending does not rest in the glory you receive, but in the glory revealed of me. When you humble yourself to be used, every eye will be lifted not to you, but to me, the giver of life. And in that, you will know the fullness of joy, the joy of a vessel placed rightly, of a heart living its true purpose, of a life becoming a channel of blessing for many. You will know that no reward is greater than hearing another say, "Because of you I have found the Lord." So then go forth in courage. Let your light shine not only within a small circle around you, but reach outward to places still untouched by my name. Let each day of your life become a response to my sending. And trust that until the very end I will keep you, guide you, and fulfill all that I have begun, my beloved child. What I am doing in your life is not only for today, nor solely for your own benefit. Each step you take, each sacrifice you endure, each testimony you live is weaving a legacy that stretches beyond your generation. You are not living in a void, but standing in a holy stream where those before you have sown and those after you will reap. As it is written, one generation commends your works to another. They tell of your mighty acts. Psalm 14:5-4. My child, I do not only see you, but also all who will be touched through your life. When you stand firm in faith, you open the way for your children, your friends, and even for those you have never met. They will eat the fruit of your perseverance, just as you now partake of the fruit from those who went before. Joseph did not only save his family but preserved an entire nation. Esther did not only stand for herself, but for her people. In the same way, you cannot measure the full impact of your obedience. A legacy is not built in a single day, but woven through each faithful choice. When you choose forgiveness over bitterness, you plant seeds of reconciliation for the next generation. When you choose prayer over complaint, you leave a mark of faith for those who witness. When you choose to stand instead of giving up, you teach others perseverance in hardship. True legacy is not in fleeting wealth or fame, but in eternal values rooted in truth, in love, and in my presence. Often you may think you are simply living day by day, but in my eyes, every act is a seed. Some seeds sprout quickly, others remain buried for years, yet all will bear fruit in due time. You may not see the harvest fully in your lifetime, but generations after you will. Abraham did not see the fullness of the promise, yet his descendants became as countless as the stars. Likewise, your faithfulness today will become an eternal blessing for those who come after. I call you to see your life not merely through the lens of the present, but through the vision of eternity. I am building in you a legacy that will echo forever, not in works of stone that decay, but in souls redeemed, families transformed, and communities restored. And as you remain faithful, you are not only writing your own story, but laying down a sacred path for others to follow. My beloved child, a generation cannot live apart from the one before it or after it. What you do today will either open the way or become a stumbling block for those who follow. You may think your choices affect only yourself, but in truth, they leave a mark upon your lineage. When you stand firm, the next generation has a foundation upon which to build. When you give up, the burden becomes an obstacle they must overcome. Therefore, I call you to live with the awareness that every decision carries inheritance, whether you realize it or not. My child, I have shown you this through the history of my people. When Moses was faithful, Joshua could continue leading the people into the promised land. When David offered and prepared, Solomon could build the glorious temple. Conversely, when a generation turned away from me, the next had to endure bitter consequences. This is not to make you afraid, but to help you grasp the holy weight of choice. You do not live for yourself alone, but are writing a story for your family line, for those you will never meet, but who will still be shaped by the legacy you leave. The passing down of faith does not happen mainly through long sermons, but through a life lived authentically before others. A parent's silent prayer can become a wall of protection around their children for years. A single act of faithfulness, a righteous decision, a steady example will echo louder than any advice spoken. The next generation learns to believe, not by theory but by living witnesses. Therefore, I call you, let your life become a living Bible for the next generation to read and follow. Do not despise the small things. A blessing spoken over your children, a story told of my faithfulness, a moment of sharing spiritual experience. All are bricks that build a foundation for those to come. Do not think you must be flawless to pass something on. It is your scars, your honesty about failures, and how I lifted you up that will encourage those behind you. They will learn that I am not only the God of victory, but also the God of restoration. Know that legacy is not only what you leave behind when you depart this world, but the way you live each day. Every choice today is writing a story for tomorrow. If you sow in faith, in love, and perseverance, you will leave a field of fruit for the next generation. But if you sow in bitterness, selfishness, unbelief, you will also leave a legacy, but it will be a burden others must break. Therefore, I call you, choose to sow what is eternal, so those who come after may walk lightly in the blessing I have prepared. My child, the summit of legacy is not in what you accumulate, but in what you impart. All worldly glory fades, riches perish, and fame is forgotten. but what you sow in me will never vanish. Every prayer you whisper, every act of love you extend, every tear shed in faithfulness, all are recorded in the eternal books, and these things will go on bearing fruit even after you leave this world. Look, my child, Abraham did not live only for himself, but left a promise for generations. His faith became the foundation upon which multitudes would walk. David was not only a king, but left the Psalms that still nourish the souls of millions. Paul did not only preach for his own age, but left letters that remain light for countless generations. In the same way, I am writing the story of your life not only for the present, but to be a living testimony for many after you. Remember that spiritual legacy is not always built on great deeds. Sometimes it is woven through small daily perseverance, a meal offered with thanksgiving, a morning opening of Scripture with your children, a quiet prayer lifted for your family. Such things may seem simple, yet they become a torch passed on to the next generation. And when that torch is handed forward, the light continues to spread, piercing the darkness and revealing my glory to the ends of the earth. Legacy does not end with bloodlines, but extends to community and nations. An act of love given to a stranger can change their entire family line. A prayer for a nation can stir movements you never imagined. A hidden act of obedience today can become the foundation for tomorrow's revival. Do not think legacy is confined to family. See the wider reach, for when I move, blessing always multiplies. Do not think, my child, that you are too small to shape the future. Each faithful step you take is a stone in the eternal structure I am building. One day, as you stand before me, you will see the smallest acts you thought insignificant resounded with the greatest power. You will see that every faithfulness became legacy, and that legacy is not only for your household, but a testimony to the world, so that many may know me. My beloved, I declare to you, take up the torch I place in your hand, and do not keep it for yourself. Pass it to the next generation, share it with the community, let it shine beyond the borders you imagine. For true legacy never ends with one lifetime, but continues to burn from generation to generation until the day I return in glory. My child, now is the time for me to show you the ultimate purpose of all the journeys, trials, refinements, sendings, and legacies I have woven into your life. They are not scattered fragments, but a complete tapestry leading to fulfillment. You are not only called to begin, but to endure to the end. You are not only sent to sow, but also to reap the eternal harvest. You are not only transformed for yourself, but to reflect my glory in all you do. As it is written, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. Revelation 2:1-3. My child, what I seek in you is not resounding victories nor achievements admired by men. What I long for is a faithful heart until the end. Such faithfulness is not measured by the crowds that follow, but by whether you continue steadfast, even when you walk alone. It is not measured by what you possess, but by how you use what I have given to glorify my name. It is not measured by the comfort you experience, but by the steadfastness you hold in times of hardship. You have learned how to rise after falling, how to trust when the way is unseen, and how to love even when wounded. All these things are preparing you for completion. Remember, completion does not mean an end, but fullness. When a seed sprouts, it does not die, but enters a new stage to bear fruit. When one journey closes, it opens the way to another greater and more glorious. Your life, when placed in my hands, will not stop at the brevity of earthly days, but will continue into eternity. And when you remain faithful to the very end, you will enter into everlasting joy, where there are no more tears, no more sorrow, where you shall see me face to face and hear the words, you have fought the good fight, you have kept the faith. 2 Timothy 4:7. My child, completion also means that I have fulfilled the promise I spoke over you. There are prayers you have lifted for many years, visions you have carried in your heart and dreams you thought had died. But I declare that on the appointed day all will come to pass. Not a single word I have spoken returns void. Not a single prayer shed in tears is forgotten. You may not see it now, but in heaven the answer is already prepared. Completion is the evidence that I am the faithful one, the keeper of promises, the one who brings all things to fulfillment in my time. Therefore, do not let fear cause you to stop midway. Do not let weariness drive you to give up before the finish line. Do not let delay cause you to doubt my faithfulness. Keep walking even when results are not yet visible. Hold fast to faith even when darkness thickens. Be faithful in the small things even when they seem insignificant. For completion does not come in one grand moment, but through perseverance day by day. And my child, when I speak of completion, I also speak of the eternal glory I have prepared for you. What you go through on this earth is fleeting, but the reward I have set apart for you is unfading. In heaven there is no weariness, no loss, no tears. In heaven there is joy, rest, and perfect union with me. The completion I call you into is to cross beyond the boundaries of this passing world and step into the everlasting joy with me. My beloved, completion does not come in haste, but in the process I have appointed. Therefore, what I call you now is to live watchfully and be prepared. Do not think that waiting is wasted, for it is in those days that seem silent that I am shaping your soul, making you strong enough to receive what is coming. Like the wise virgins in the parable who brought oil in reserve while the foolish did not, you must be the one who keeps oil, meaning keep the lamp of faith burning bright, so that when the moment of completion comes, you are ready to enter into everlasting joy. Preparation is not merely passive waiting, but living each day with the awareness that every moment counts. When you choose faithfulness in small tasks, you are training for greater responsibility. When you choose forgiveness, you are preparing for a future free from bitterness. When you choose prayer, you are laying down a firm foundation to withstand storms. Every action you take in the present, if placed in my hands, becomes a stone that builds the bridge leading to completion. Learn to see waiting through my eyes. You see delay, but I see positioning. You see silence, but I see preparation. You see a closed door, but I see the strengthening of foundations, so that when the door opens you may step through without faltering. Therefore, do not lose heart when the answer tarries. Do not despair when the dream is still held back. Be assured that all things are being arranged in my wisdom and perfect timing. Though it lingers, wait for it. It will certainly come and will not delay. Habakkuk 2:3. Preparation also means guarding your heart from what quenches the flame. Stay watchful against fruitless habits, against temptations that lead astray, and against the noise that drowns my voice. Do not let fatigue make you careless. Do not let comparison cause you to forget the path, and do not let fear bury the gifts I have placed in you. Each day let the Spirit pour fresh oil into your lamp, so that it never runs dry. For that lamp is your faith, and that faith will keep you standing until the day of completion. Live as a traveler who knows the destination is near. Do not let your heart be weighed down by fleeting concerns. Do not let your eyes be clouded by temporary pleasures. Walk with the hope that I am leading you into perfect fulfillment. And while you wait, let your life become a light for others. When they see you holding on to faith without yet seeing results, they will know that I am the faithful one. When they see you praising me in the midst of trials, they will know that I am the all-sufficient one. When they see you loving even when wounded, they will believe that I am the everlasting source of love. My child, this preparation is not for you alone, but also for those who will be touched through you. As you live watchfully, you become a reminder to the next generation that completion surely comes. As you keep your lamp burning, its light will not only guide your own path, but also lead many others. And when that day comes, when all is fulfilled, you will see that the waiting was never in vain. It became fertile ground, where I sowed eternal seed, and now the harvest blooms in glory. My beloved, the day I call you into completion will also be the day every prayer you ever whispered, every longing you ever held, and every trust you ever placed will be revealed in fullness. No longer distant promises, but living reality before your eyes. You will no longer walk by faith, for then you shall see me face to face. You will no longer pray in tears, for I will wipe away every tear from your eyes. And you will realize that every painful step on this earth has led you into a joy no one can take away. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain. Revelation 2:1-4. The completion I promise is not only a reward for you, but the perfect union between me and my people. You will not enter alone, but with a multitude of brothers and sisters from every tribe, tongue, and generation. Songs of praise will resound, mingling with the voices of angels, and all heaven will be filled with the sound of rejoicing. On that day there will be no more borders, no more divisions, no more limits, only one body, the people redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, living forever in glory. My child, let this hope carry you through the days you still walk on this earth. Remember that every trial now is temporary compared to the glory to come. Each time you grow weary, think of the day I will call you by your name and bring you into rest. Each time you feel discouraged, remember that I have prepared a place for you where there is no darkness or fear. Each time the journey feels heavy, know that heaven awaits and your reward will never perish. That fullness also means every unfinished thing will be brought to completion. The dreams you thought had died, the prayers you thought would never be answered, the sacrifices that seemed in vain, all will be gathered into my eternal wisdom. You will see that not one tear was wasted, not one moment of faithfulness overlooked. All will be woven into a radiant tapestry reflecting my beauty and glory. Picture that day, you standing before my throne, surrounded by countless angels and the redeemed. The skies ablaze not by the sun, but by my very presence. You lift your face and behold my eyes, the eyes that watched over you from the very beginning. You hear my voice, the voice that once whispered comfort in your nights of sorrow, now resounding clearly. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into the joy of your Lord. And in that moment you will know that everything endured on earth was worth it, for eternal glory far outweighs every temporary suffering. This completion is not a final full stop, but a new beginning. A beginning where there is no limit of time, no bondage of flesh, no frailty of humanity. You will live in a glorious body, reigning with me, sharing the endless joy of my presence. This is the goal I have set before you from the very start, the destination of the journey of faith, the reward beyond compare. Therefore, my beloved, in the days you remain on earth, continue walking with steadfast faith. Do not let temporary trials shake you. Do not let lies make you forget the promise. Do not let delay rob you of hope. Remember, I, the one who began the good work in you, will also bring it to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. And when that day comes, you will see every word I spoke was true, every promise I made was fulfilled, and every sacrifice you gave transformed into eternal glory. Thank you for listening to today's message. Be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so together we may receive the living word, build steadfast faith, and walk in the boundless love of the Lord. Amen.